It's here for the next round. Continue my playthrough of Stalker 2 Veteran Difficulty on the Ward route. And this is going to be a little non-standard video, and it's due to the fact of something I discovered in the latest 1.4 patch that does have bearing effect on this 1.3 Ward playthrough you're watching. It has to do with the Zubr-19 weapon. Apparently, I was using the Zubr-19 weapon for most of my Ward playthrough, I guess all the way up till I got to Pripyat when I started to switch over to the Kharod assault rifle. And what I discovered is that as of the 1.4 patch, they had nerfed the Zubr-19's range attribute. This range attribute is important that it tells you how far off or how far out the weapon's damage will be sustained until it starts to drop off. And I don't know the exact mechanics how this works. Obviously, the longer the range, then the more effective the damage from your weapon will be to targets that it hits. And the range you're seeing here on the Zubr-19, this is as of probably the 1.32 patch when I was in the middle of doing my Ward playthrough. The range here of this submachine gun, the Zubr-19, is equivalent to that of most of the advanced assault rifles, and even the ones that are upgraded. So the point is, or the long story short, is that the Zubr-19, since the game's release, was behaving more like a late game assault rifle at longer ranges than it was a true or a submachine gun class weapon in the game, like the Integral and the Viper and the Shaw's, I guess the Shaw's gun, I can't remember the name of it. So those of you who are planning or watching my Ward playthrough and thinking, well, I should also get a Zubr and use it the same fashion, you're going to find the 1.4 patch that it's not going to be performing as well for you against NPC enemies making headshots as you'll see in my videos. And I ran into this problem, discovered this problem in a new playthrough I'm working on. I have a new playthrough, it's unpublished. I'm trying a no-death playthrough on the Spark route. And I did follow my routine early in the game, got the Zubr-19, started upgrading, and I found that it just wasn't really, it was taking me about an extra headshot with each NPC, armored NPC at distance. I thought, well, this is odd. It's not performing like I was used to. And while I was in the middle of upgrading weapons, I thought, the range is only a 2. I noticed that the range had been reduced to a 2. I thought, well, I thought the range was much higher. And I went back and looked at this video. This is my video from video 63, the Hornet's Nest mission, which you can access after the Circa missions are over. And I noticed that looking at the attribute for the Zubr here, it was much higher than the one I have in my new playthrough. So the rest of this video, I'm going to be loading up a game that I was doing much later in this Ward playthrough where I had started to upgrade the more advanced assault rifles, the Kharod and a few others. I'm going to be comparing those attributes to the Zubr-19 as it is in the 1.4 patch. And this is just to help educate those of you who are trying to figure out, or watching these playthrough and trying to figure out what weapons and tactics you should be using if you're trying to model my tactics or trying to fit your own playstyle. So, and being this is a submachine gun, it says right here, all the submachine guns in Stalker 2 the developers appear to try to be limiting their range to no more than 2 bars. I mean, I think the default Zubr is about 1.5 bars, and you can upgrade it to a 2. But they don't want it to go any further than that, because now it starts to encroach on the range benefit you get from the more advanced assault rifles. And I didn't see any of this in the recent patch notes for the 1.4 series of patches. I'm guessing either the developers just overlooked it or didn't think it'd be a relevant issue. Maybe they thought that, well, when we release the game, we want all submachine guns to have a range no further than 2. And someone noticed that, or maybe they didn't notice it and just corrected it and just didn't think it'd be important for the patch notes. But for someone like you or maybe another player who started with the Zubr-19 and liked it a lot because of its performance, now you're going to find on a new playthrough that it's not going to perform as well at longer ranges. And this is the reason why I'm going to show you that in this next video segment, where I'm going to load up my save game much later in this Ward playthrough, because I'm at a trader where all the weapons are, most of the weapons are available, and I can do a comparison of this Zubr with the comparable machine guns like the Integral A and also the more advanced assault rifles I've upgraded. So here's the next segment. Okay, I'm continuing my review of the Zubr-19, and I've loaded up my Ward playthrough. This is much later in the game. I haven't published the playthrough for this yet, but I'm at this point in the game so I can do a comparative or comparison between the weapons to various weapons in the Zubr-19. So here's a base Zubr-19. This is one that I had looted and managed to not sell yet. And this is after the 1.4 patch. You can see the range of the gun, as opposed to my prior segment, is about a 1.6 on the bars, the various gun attribute bars. And I don't think much else has changed. You see now the damage is much higher than the prior one. That's because the damage now reflects the penetration value. In the 1.4 patch, the developers hid the penetration attribute for whatever reason, and now use it as a factor to calculate the damage or base damage that your gun does. And this is an unupgraded Zubr. So I'll compare it to, now over here is my Zubr I was using throughout most of the playthrough, and we can compare it. We can see the damage of the modified Zubr is very slight, and that just reflects the additional armor piercing or penetration ability that I upgraded for it. The handling is a little bit reduced. That just means it's just not as quick to bring up and move around, I guess. And now you see, though, the range hasn't changed much. The range of these Zubrs is under 2. Now, in the 1.4 patch, you can get the range of your Zubr up to an exact 2.0. I've done that in my latest playthrough I'm working on. But you see much less than it was, as you're seeing now in my current Ward playthrough. I'm using a Zubr where the range is up to like 2.6, and so I'm able to make headshots and take down NPCs at a much longer range than I normally would, and that you normally would if you were now playing in the 1.4 patch or greater. So now let's compare this base Zubr to some of the other weapons. Here is an Integral A. This is also another submachine gun in the game that is a little more difficult to find. I mean, I guess it's about as tough to find as the Zubr is, but you see the base Integral has a better range, or the range is also at 2, and this is a Integral that has not been upgraded. And you can see that the Integral is a submachine gun. I guess it's around the same. It's a little more expensive, this one. is so much more expensive than the Zubr. But the point is that the range is about the same. So I'm guessing that the developers made this change to the Zubr in the 1.4 patch, again, to bring it down to the same range category as the other submachine guns. Because all the other parameters are about the same except for the rate of fire and the handling and the damage, but the range is in the ballpark, and so is the accuracy. So and then let's compare it to other long range or long barrel assault rifles. This is a Fora-221, and now you see the base Fora-221 is about the same performance or same range as the Zubr, and it does a little bit less damage. So in some ways the Zubr is still a superior gun even to some of the basic assault rifles. So you can't really go wrong using a Zubr early in the game like I had been, because it's going to perform just as well as a Fora, if not better. Now the Fora does have a little better range, but you can upgrade the range on the Zubr, and you can also upgrade the accuracy. And you notice that the Zubr has a larger magazine. The base magazine is 50 rounds. So the Zubr-19 is still a decent choice comparative to the Fora-221. I don't know if I have a GP37 here. I may have sold those off. I may have to go see if a vendor sells one. Let me see. I mean, the GP37 would be another comparative. You maybe want comparing the GP37 to the... let me see. I'm going to see if a vendor has one for sale here. Okay, I found a GP37 in my inventory. So let's compare the Zubr to the GP37. So you see the Zubr also has... the damage is a little better on the Zubr, the base Zubr, than the GP37, which is interesting. Though the GP37 has better range. So and also it has a integrated scope. So if you were trying to, depending on your playstyle early in the game, if you were thinking your style's more close combat, medium to short range, then you'd want to go with the Zubr. Now if you're interested in hitting the enemies at a little bit longer range, you'd want to go with the GP37. However, note it does a little bit less damage. So you may still be facing a case where it takes one extra headshot to take down enemies with the GP37, but if that's your playstyle, that's okay. It'll be equivalent to using the Zubr also at a longer range. Now, you can get the GP37 upgraded. You can also use armor-piercing ammo with it. So using armor-piercing ammo would bring it, I guess, at... I think using armor-piercing ammo GP37 would make it operate about the same as the Zubr-19, just an FYI. regardless of the range differences. And that's just my take. I'm not an expert on the GP37, haven't used it a whole lot, but just based on what I know about the armor-piercing ammo and how the Zubr works, I think they'd be an equivalent. GP37 with AP ammo is probably equivalent to Zubr-19. There's probably an emission coming now. Now, also, if you're I guess late middle, or if you're early middle game and are not confident with the performance of the Zubr, you can get access to some of these more advanced assault rifles. You see that here's the Dnipro. You can pick this up through exploration early in the game, which I think I've shown. I don't know if I think I've already invaded the. I think it's the Les China facility in Red Forest where you can pick up one of these from. You can also buy it from the vendor in Yaniv. And now you see that the Dnipro here has attributes that's more like the Zubr before the 1.4 patch. It has, of course, the damage is a little better on the Dnipro, and the range is a lot better. The range is about a 2.25, though you can probably get that upgraded. So the Dnipro may be a better choice than the Zubr-19 if you want to stick with an assault rifle going forward. And then the Kharod, let me see if I have a base Kharod here. I may have here's a base Kharod. I'll just pull this over here. So here's a unupgraded Kharod. Now the unupgraded Kharod looks to me more like the Zubr I had configured in my playthrough before the 1.4 patch. Because see, the range is about a 2.6. That's about what the Zubr had before the 1.4 patch. The handling I'm not too worried about. I mean, the Kharod is a little bit slower wielding gun. It's heavier than the Zubr. You see it's about over 1.16 kilograms heavier than the Zubr. So now the damage is slightly better, but keep in mind this is a Kharod that's not upgraded. Now let me compare this to a Kharod I do have upgraded. This Kharod here, I'm showing you I've upgraded. Now, this Kharod has a little bit significantly better damage. So this does like a 2.0 on the scale, and that's better than this upgraded Zubr. And this Zubr here is this a base Zubr? Yeah, it's a base Zubr. So that's a base Zubr. And see, the range is really good. The range is even much better. And that means how long, that means the range means just how much the damage will hold up over a longer range before it starts dropping off. And the accuracy is much better than the base Zubr-19. And so you may want to consider a Kharod, though you see that it is a little expensive to upgrade. I've got this one almost fully upgraded. I could probably improve the handling of it. I don't remember what I did on the handling. I'll have to check on that. Now here's the upgraded Zubr, and this is the same Zubr I think I was using throughout my playthrough. So we'll compare this Zubr to the upgraded Kharod. And after the patch, you see the Kharod has superior range. And the rate of fire is a little better. The damage is better, but the handling is weak, and I think it's because I just didn't upgrade. But it is more accurate. I'm surprised that I don't remember what my accuracy was. I'll have to go back and look at the screenshot. I thought my accuracy was better with the Zubr, but maybe not. But the Kharod, you see, is a lot better for medium to long range than the Zubr. But that makes sense, right? I mean, if the Zubr is a machine gun, then it should be more effective at short to medium ranges. I'm trying to think what else I want to compare these to, if there's anything else we need to look at. Other choices are the Grom. Let me compare the Grom to the Zubr. The Grom is accessible at this point in the game, and the Grom does have a better range. The range looks like the Zubr before the patch, about a 2.6. But the damage is not as good. Handling, it's a bulkier weapon. Yeah, the Grom weighs 7 kilograms, so it's a pretty heavy weapon to wield, and it's got less than half the magazine. So I wouldn't want to pick the Grom over the Zubr early in the game. I think the Zubr is still superior because you have less weight and it's got higher handling. It means you can wield it faster. And I don't know if I have any other. Oh, we have here's the Lavina. Now, Lavina looks like it might be a better weapon to wield than the Zubr. The thing is, you'd probably want to get an extended magazine for it because it's only got the 20-round magazine and it's chambered in 939. But the range this looks more like the Zubr, the attributes for the Zubr I had before the patch. You see, compared to the base Zubr, it's got much better range. So you'll be able to touch enemies at medium to long range better than the Zubr. Let me compare it to the upgraded Zubr. Now with the upgraded Zubr, yeah, I see the upgraded Zubr is a little better in handling and damage, but again, the range is just not as good. It's almost a full bar away on the range. So the Lavina would do better at medium to long range engagement. So the accuracy is a little poor, but this is a Lavina that's not been upgraded. So let's compare the Zubr to the Vintar. Vintar is also kind of a crowd favorite, and Vintar weighs a little more than the Zubr. The range is superior. The range is really good. It's probably got one of the best suppressed range rifles, assault rifles in the game. I don't know if this is really an assault rifle or what you want to call it. It looks like the kind of looks like this weapon, right? It looks like an upgraded Lavina. Just has a shorter round magazine. Are these chambered the same? 9.3. That's 9.19. This is no, that's 9.39. This is okay. So they are chambered the same. So I guess these are based on the same weapon. And so the range is really good. Accuracy is good. And I may even have to reconsider this weapon somewhat. The thing is, it's only got a 10 round magazine. See, so it's kind of like a hybrid assault rifle, sniper rifle, because it's got the integrated scope. So not bad. I mean, this may also be a good substitute for the Zubr. Let me compare it to the upgraded Zubr. Okay, upgraded Zubr, yeah, the range is still superior, but the Zubr has a little slightly better damage, slightly better handling, and slightly better accuracy. So, but if you're more into medium long range combat, especially out in the open, the Vintar may be a better choice, but you got the limited magazine. That's the only thing to consider there. Trying to think what else to compare it with. Don't really have much else here. Okay, so the whole point of this video, I just wanted to just give an explanation as to those of you who, again, it goes back to those of you who were watching this video and thinking, man, this guy's doing really well with this Zubr. Well, part of that's because the Zubr was overpowered to begin with, it looks like. And so those of you who may have decided to model your gameplay after mine on either the Ward or Spark route, and you're finding the Zubr is lacking performance medium long, then you have several options here. You can pick a assault rifle, pick the one of your choice that seems to have comparable attributes to the Zubr yet better range, or you can just change your combat style to only focus on engagements at close to medium range. And that just means if you're out in the open or you have long range opponents, then you wouldn't engage in this weapon, you'd switch to something else. Now in my current Ward playthrough, I'm using an SVU-MK S-3 as kind of like a backup weapon. So I've got this one equipped as a secondary along with my Sega, and this weapon does pretty well. Let me see if we can compare it to the, let's put it over again. We'll compare this to the Zubr. So, I mean, granted, this is a sniper rifle, but it's got a really high rate of fire. I mean, not comparable to the Zubr, but the rate of fire is really good compared to like the Mark 1 EMR and the M701 Super. And you look at the range. So this gun one taps most heavily armored opponents at medium to long ranges, at least in my playthrough when you're in the early to middle of the game. So you may want to consider, I know this is the unique whip variant, but you know, here's the SVU-MK S-3. You may want to consider having this weapon as a backup. You can find this up in Yaniv early in the game. There's a cellar where you can find this weapon. I think I've already covered it in one of my earlier, maybe I haven't. You know, I haven't covered this weapon yet. Later in my playthrough, Ward playthrough, I'll show you how you can get this weapon for free, though you have to fight some mercenaries for it. Other options you can consider is switching to a Kharod. I think vendors up in Yaniv will sell this weapon, or you can also try the Dnipro. You can get this one for free out of the Lachina facility in Red Forest. However, that free meaning you have to fight a controller and his zombies to get to it. But in my playthrough in the Lachina facility, Red Forest, I'll show you how you can do that. And this gun is obtainable, and looks like it's a little better than the Zubr, the upgraded Zubr. So this may be a better, and this Dnipro here I'm showing you is not upgraded. I guess I could go try to upgrade it real quick and see how much better we can get it. So let me do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, here at Yaniv, I went and spent some money to upgrade the Dnipro and the Kharod further. Now, there's one blueprint I didn't have for the Dnipro, so I couldn't upgrade all the way. You see, with an upgraded Kharod, it's pretty superior now to the Zubr. You see the damage is much higher, about maybe 15% higher. The range is a little better. It's not as good as some other rifles. It looks like it's about 2.4. So you do have a little bit better range. That means long range, it's still not going to be as good as others. But the accuracy is really good. The accuracy is much better than the Zubr. They updated the Kharod further. And the Kharod now has superior accuracy. Range is awesome. Look at that range. And that's the best I can get the handling. That's not bad. It looks like it's off by maybe like 5 to 7%. than the Zubr, but that's not that material. The damage is better. So you can upgrade the Kharod, so it is definitely better than a almost fully upgraded Zubr. I think I'm missing one upgrade for the Zubr. There's one blueprint you can't get for this Zubr that if you're playing on the ward route, the game just won't let you get. In fact, let me double check and make sure I got the Zubr upgrade as best as I can. Be right back. Yeah, for the Zubr, there's an additional blueprint I'm not able to get because you can't get to it on the ward route. That's just kind of dumb in my opinion, but that's the way they've designed it. This blueprint you get on the second mission into Dugad, but only if you're on the Spark route. You can't get this on the ward route for whatever reason. So I don't know why that is. This is a scope mount. I never got a scope for this in the playthrough. And what's this do? This increases accuracy. I never got this in my playthrough. I'll go and get it. And I don't think there's any other upgrades. And, oh, I can get this one. But I increased the range. Okay, I hadn't gotten this one this playthrough for whatever reason. I don't remember why. Now, I don't have these upgrades selected because there's a bug in the 1.4 patch where if you select one of these upgrades, like Flash Suppressor, and when you click this, it will remove the, when you select it, when you buy this, it will remove your suppressor. But you can then later reattach your suppressor. So if you do that and save your game, quit, and load your game up, then this upgrade is no longer there. So that means you wasted the $10,000 on the upgrade. So that's why I'm not selecting right now. It may not work in your game, and I don't know when they're going to fix that bug, because the 1.5 patch is out soon, as of probably next week after this recording is made. And I don't know when they're going to fix this bug. It's hard to say. These developers don't really do, for whatever reason, they don't really do a lot of regression testing when they touch various parts of the code, and so that's why a lot of these bugs persist. They just don't do it. Yeah, let me see if I've got everything else upgraded. Okay, that's the scope mount, and I think I got everything else. So now I've got this as fully upgraded as I can without bugs, preventing these upgrades from working well. So let me go back and do the comparison. Okay, so now I'm going to recompare this upgraded Zubr-19. Now I've got the handling and accuracy upgrades and the range upgrades. And so let's compare that to a fully upgraded Kharod. So the Zubr has a better, the damage is still slightly better with Kharod. Looks like it's maybe 5%. And that's not that, you know, that's kind of trivial. Zubr still has a little bit of handling. Now the Kharod still has the rate of fire is a little better on the Kharod. Not a big deal because I'm normally not playing fully automatic. I'm usually single shot mode. But the range is still superior. Accuracy is still superior. So if you're looking for a much better weapon mid to late game, and the Zubr's fine early to mid, but then once you get like after maybe to the first assault on Dugad or the one after maybe the second one, you may want to consider upgrading to Kharod, or here's an upgrade Dnipro. Now Dnipro is just looks like it's just slightly better on damage. Well, damage is significantly better. Range is better, not as good as the Kharod. And accuracy is better. So the Dnipro is also a weapon you consider upgrading to. And I haven't upgraded the Fora. I'm not going to bother upgrading the Fora here for comparison. It could probably be upgraded to be comparable to the Zubr. So this may be, and also if you like this particular weapon and the caliber of ammunition, this may be an okay weapon for you. And I think the Kharod, I think the extended magazine works for the Fora, right? I think the Kharod and the Fora share the same extended magazine. I'm not sure. Let me disassemble this and see. Okay, so I disassembled it, and yes, fits on the Fora. If I put the Fora here, yeah, so you could also use the Fora. The Fora would be a good weapon if you're going to upgrade later the Kharod. You could use the Fora in place of the Zubr as well because it shares the same extended magazine and suppressor. The extended magazine you find over east, it's in East Zaton, north of the swamp, and this suppressor is available for sale from Eugene at Rostok, though it may be available for some other places. That's where you can find this suppressor. I don't know if this does this fit on the, well, it does, and it automatically fits on the Fora without any upgrades. So you could even consider using a Fora, and I guess I'll go upgrade the Fora and see how well we get. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to upgrade the Fora, and I got to repair it first. And this is late in the game, much later in the game. That's why I've got so much money to do stuff with. So let's do some. We have wear and tear, and then we got bullet velocity. That changes the accuracy a little bit. That doesn't do anything. Now these upgrades, I don't think they're going to work. You could buy them, but they're not going to stick because of a bug. And let's see, this is recoil decrease, that increases accuracy. That's spread decrease, that's a good one. I'd rather have spread decrease than aiming. Okay, this does both. I don't know if you can you get both of these? Okay, that increases the handling, and I don't really care about that. Accuracy's up, accuracy's up. And what about this? What does this do? This is wear and tear, and that reduces the damage. Okay, I'm not too crazy about that upgrade. That increases accuracy. Flatness, that increases range. Handling, I'm going to do the range. Okay, these are all the upgrades I think I can get with this gun. So let's go back and compare it to the other more advanced rifles. Okay, so now let's see, where did I put the Zubr at? Did I disassemble it? Where is it? Sorry, what did I do with it? Did I put it over here? Oh, it's right here. Duh, I'm stupid. Okay, so let's compare the Zubr now and the Fora. Okay, so even with now I've got this Fora upgrade as best I can, and the damage of the Zubr is still better. So damage is better, but the range and accuracy of the Fora are better. So if you're like more of a long range fighter at the early mid game, the Fora may also be a decent substitute. Just note the damage may not be as good. It may take you an extra headshot unless you're using armor piercing rounds. And if we compare this to the other rifles, let's see, the Fora and you can see how the upgraded Fora compares to the Kharod. And this is a Kharod that's been fully upgraded. But the nice thing about the Fora and the Kharod is they share the same suppressor and the same extended magazine. So that's something to consider. It looks like there's a significant increase in damage and the range. So point is, if you like the feel of the Fora, the Kharod may be a natural upgrade for you. And compared to the Zubr is going to be better, slightly better at medium to short range than the Fora, and a fully upgraded Fora, even with the suppressor. So anyway, that's a lot of analysis, and there's probably more that can be done as well, but the point is that if I were to do this playthrough again, I would not be using the Zubr as long as I did. I'd probably be upgrading to the Kharod or Dnipro much earlier than that. And now other considerations, you could consider perhaps using the, I don't really like the Vintar because it's just 10 round magazine. And I don't know if you can upgrade this or not. I mean, to some ways the Vintar is see, it's got much better range. If you're a longer range fighter, the Vintar may be an ideal option. The Grom is a real heavy, this Grom, it says it's 3.7. Why is that other one 7? Now the Grom may be also ideal, it's got a much better, but the accuracy is not that good. So it may be hard to get headshots with this weapon. And let's see, what's another gun we can compare it to? I don't really have much else. GP37. Now GP37 is going to be better at longer ranges, but no, you may be having to take an extra shot to the head to your opponents. And this is a GP37 that's not been upgraded. So anyway, I guess that's enough analysis on these weapons. I just wanted to, again, mention this because I know I'm saying this probably too many times. I guess the short version, finally, Zubr-19 was a little overpowered for how I was using it in the game. If I was going to do this again, the same playthrough again, I would probably start getting a Kharod early and upgrading it because you see it has much better attributes, much more versatility in fighting. Or get a Dnipro if you prefer that weapon. It's very similar, though it doesn't. The range is not quite where I'd like it. I'd like it with a little bit better range and accuracy. That's why I prefer the Kharod. So I hope you found this useful. And in the next video, I'll get back to the Ward playthrough, and we'll see you then.